Today, I'd like to welcome Betsy Schatz, the Executive Director of Langley Residential Support Services. She's joining us as part of our web series with DemBiz. Thank you, Betsy, for joining us.
You're welcome. I'm excited to be here.
We're very, very happy to have you. Betsy Schatz has been with Langley Residential for almost 40 years. She is the Executive Director. She started out as their first Program Director back in 1988, and she's been doing excellent work since. So let's jump on into the questions here. Let's talk a little bit about the origins of Langley Residential. How big a role did the move away from the old institutional model play in the creation of Langley Residential?
Well, I think back when Langley started, there was talk of this new model of deinstitutionalization. But really, this is a community project. The ARC of Northern Virginia, which back in the old days was called the Association for Retarded Citizens, used to host a dance at Trinity United Methodist Church in McLean. And two other churches, Lutheran Church of the Redeemer and Emmanuel Presbyterian, also participated by providing chaperones. They, after meeting these men and women who came to the dance, began thinking about, well, what's going to happen to them when their parents pass away? Who's going to take care of them? And they came up with the proposal that they took to the Fairfax Falls Church Community Services Board, and they formed a nonprofit corporation. And in the beginning, all three churches provided assistance with tasks around the house as well as financial assistance. So that's how Langley started. To this day, all three churches still provide support in different ways, and we are, we're thrilled that they have considered this a mission that's worthy of their support.
Wow, that is fantastic. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but talk a little bit about, in your own words, why the work Langley Residential does is so important to the community, especially in the Northern Virginia area here.
Well, I think that people with developmental disabilities are generally hidden from public view in many cases. You see the bagger at the grocery store, you see, an individual out for a walk with their parents. Every now and then you'll see them volunteering, but it's not necessarily something that you're aware of. And oftentimes what happens is you see a person who has some different characteristics and you think that they have a mental health issue. They're two very different, diagnoses, and it's people have both mental health issues and developmental disabilities, but they're treated very differently. So I think that the work that Langley does, number one, highlights people with developmental disability. It shows that they can live and work in a community just like anyone else. And they want to participate in the community as productive citizens. That is really what I think Langley is all about. Making sure that the people that we serve have, we call it, they have an amazing life. A life like yours. That's really what we strive to do.
It's fantastic work. How much of a struggle is it to get people to see the discernible difference between those disabilities, as you just stated?
Well, I think we take the opportunity to educate people.
Right.
I think that, I've always said many times, when you get to meet the people that we serve, things change. Your attitude changes. The way you feel about people with developmental disabilities, it opens your mind, and it shows you how they're just people. They're people
Yeah.
who want what I want.
Yeah.
And that's my job, to help other people understand that.
Absolutely. It's fantastic work you guys do. Kind of switching gears here a little bit. What kind of impact or discernible impact has a pandemic had on your organization?
Oh boy.
I know that's a loaded question.
It is a very loaded question. So, RJ, in the beginning of the pandemic, we basically very early shut down. People who live in our homes stayed home,
Right.
and we were very strict. We cleaned everything. We wore masks. We wore gloves. We did everything we could to keep this disease at bay. And we've been very successful. None of our staff and none of our residents have tested positive. So, having said that, in the beginning, it was quite a struggle to find supplies. Nobody said, hey, there are these gloves here or masks there. We were on the internet looking, and fortunately, we were able to find them. Now, when I started this, I said people were in lockdown. And what that meant was they weren't going anywhere. They weren't going home to visit their family members. They weren't going to work. They weren't even leaving the house to go for a ride. And I don't think any of us knew how that would play out. I would have expected some pushback from people. I'm going outside, I'm going to go do this, I don't care what you say. But we were very, very careful with how we explained this to people to get their buy-in. We worked a lot with parents and came up with, we bought computers and tablets so that people could FaceTime their parents or family members. We recently started having families come to the door to have their son or daughter come out, walk around the neighborhood. Everybody wore masks, did the social distancing. And recently, we've had a couple families who took their sons or daughters home for the weekend. We were very careful in asking them to please stay at home. Don't go to the mall. Don't go for large gatherings. And families were very supportive. So hopefully we will continue with that approach. There is talk of starting folks back to work. Day placements want to reopen. They have not been, they've been shut down, which I'm sure has caused some economic concerns. But we are not in a hurry.
Yeah.
We need to feel assured that they're taking temperatures. We take temperatures every day. When family members bring or pick up their sons or daughters, we take not only the temperature of the individual, but of the family member, because, we don't know. So we're kind of stumbling our way through this. And we're getting a lot of direction from the state, and who's consulting with the experts in the state. But we're we're going very slowly, and we will continue to do that until there is a vaccine.
Right. What kind of piggybacking on that, Betsy, what do the long-term prospects look like for Langley Residential?
Well, RJ, we have, although we're in good shape, and we've gotten loans that have, or grants, to sustain ourselves. We're just not, we're not sure what we're doing. I'm probably close to retirement age and I'm close to retirement age. But I would like to leave Langley in good hands. I think that we as a small nonprofit think very much about, well, what's the best scenario? We've talked to a couple other providers to see whether we might have some discussions about maybe affiliating with them, sharing, infrastructure, things like that, so that, we're not the only ones who have to pay the insurance or find an office. So I think we are being very thoughtful about the future. We're hopeful, but we want to be in a good position, because Langley is there for the people that we support as long as we can support them. It's their home. We've had people, we still have one person who's in our program who was in the first group home we opened. So we've stuck with it. As people have aged, we're modifying the houses, redoing the bathrooms so that, people are safe, and we're just prepared for them to remain with us in their home. So that's what we're doing.
I hear you. Has the stimulus had any effect on the organization?
You mean like PPP?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. It has helped us tremendously, because we now provide service during the day. Usually people go to work, or they go to a day program, and our staff are not required to be in the homes. So there's that approximately 7 hours that we now provide service, and that has helped cover those costs. And we bought a lot of supplies. I had my houses saying, "Do you have any toilet paper?" And we're like, "Well, we'll find some." That's an essential. So I have a conference room that's half full of supplies. So because we don't know how long this is going to go on, and as difficult as it was in the beginning, we don't want to be unprepared again.
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely. If you could choose one word to describe the men and women your organization serves, what would it be?
And I thought a lot about this. And I stick with the word that originally came to my head, and that is inspiring. The men and women that we serve keep me on my toes. They know how to push my buttons. They know how to give me support when I need it. And it has, I've been here, as you said, almost 40 years. And that's really, I do it because of the people who Langley serves.
Yeah. Well, Betsy, I must say you are inspiring.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, for all the work you've done in the community. And I do hope you're with this organization for a long, long, long time. Although I know you've
Thank
been.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. And I thank you for asking me to come join you today. It has been my pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you, ma'am. And I want to thank everyone for joining us for our DemBiz series with Betsy Schatz. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you all. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.